Last time on iHeart Pickleball, we met the Perantos in the Pacific Northwest. This month, we travel to Georgia and hear how Tom and Ann Earley were able to grow a pickleball community in the heart of the South. iHeart Pickleball is powered by Highlands Leg Cramps, proud supporter of pickleball players everywhere.
We are Tom and Ann Earley, and we've been playing pickleball about 12 years.
And we've been married 13 years.
A few of them happily. No, I'm kidding.
We met at a party.
We went with friends, and so we just wandered over to the dessert table, and some voice behind me said, "What looks good to you?"
That was my voice.
And so we proceeded to go off and chat for a couple of hours. Tom said, "Well, I can take you home." And I said, "I don't dance with the man that didn't bring me." So I took his card and flipped it over and wrote my number, and I said, "And I don't call men either."
I did call.
The next day.
She responded.
The next day.
And a year later, we were married. I was a veterinarian that specialized in surgery of small animals.
For 16 years, I was a harpsichordist, primarily with chamber orchestras in the States, with the Munich Chamber Orchestra, Smithsonian Chamber Players.
We live in North Georgia with our two standard poodles, Bocce and Clyde.
When we first decided to retire, we truly wanted to have a wonderful life.
Travel.
I wanted to live the life of luxury. And then Bocce and Clyde said, "Wait, you can't go without us." So they went with us to buy a motorhome and picked out the one that they chose with the leather couches where they could recline while we're driving. And that's been our life.
We were at an RV park in Casa Grande, Arizona. We had gone there to play tennis. We heard all this click, clack, and people laughing and seemingly having a good time. And they gave us some paddles and told us a little bit about the game, and we started playing and literally put our tennis rackets down at that time and have never taken them up again. When we came home, we wanted to continue to play pickleball. We had two tennis courts that we thought we would be able to use, but we didn't have anybody to play. So we started calling some of our friends that had played tennis with us.
My name is Buzz Aarons, and I'm chairman of the Cherokee County Board of Commissioners here in Cherokee County, Georgia. I began at the Earleys when they started their pickleball group.
Tom Earley taught me to play pickleball. Tom's a great teacher. Being a doctor, he's very analytical. So he breaks everything down into a process.
And then Ann put a notice in the local paper.
And so I just put in, "If you want to learn to play pickleball, call this number." And it just exploded.
So I was looking for something to do, and I happened to see just the smallest advertisement for pickleball. Well, I called their number and started playing, and I only miss when it's raining.
I heard about this place through one of the players at the YMCA where I played at. He saw that I started getting better and better, and he was like, "You need to come try and play over here."
I think it's a classic case of what I call one-to-one marketing. You get a handful of folks who get together and start something. One by one, you would be in another circumstance, and you'd meet somebody and say, "Hey, I just played this really neat game called pickleball," and they say, "What?" Another week, someone else would show up. Another week, someone else would show up. And then it gets to the point where you've got some critical mass. If you've got 30 folks playing 4 times a week, you've really got something.
A lot of people would just say, go to the Earleys' house, and I guess we finally decided it needed an official name. Well, we called it the North Georgia Pickleball Club.
Not only do we play pickleball together, but our entire group are very fond of each other. We have a camaraderie. Because we're all great friends, we enjoy many things together, and it's because of Ann and Tom.
Initially, we played over the tennis courts, and we chalked the lines every time we wanted to play. And then we used the painter's tape, and then the tape would get worn off, and probably about 3 or 4 years ago, we were starting to get maybe 20 players to come out, to finally getting to the point where we had to make a decision of needing more courts. And 3 years ago, we decided then we would convert the tennis courts into permanent pickleball courts.
Actually, what really happened, I got a little tired of hearing Tom whine about taping and retaping the lines for pickleball, and I finally relented and said, okay. And when you give Tom the reins for something like that, he tends to go wild, and he made probably the nicest pickleball courts that you'll find in the Southeast.
I drive 30 to 35 minutes to come up here at the Earley Farm to play pickleball because it's a great facility and I learn so much from the people up here playing.
What Tom really likes about the courts here is that when we have a 9 o'clock start time for pickleball, all he has to do is get up at 5 minutes till 9 and brush his teeth, and he can go play.
Well, that is a tremendous advantage, let's face it.
My name is Bill Hess, and I am the District Ambassador for Georgia. The big thing that Tom and Ann have done to help pickleball is to allow people to come here, improve their skills, and then they take it back to their home communities.
And they were looking for somebody to teach them the proper techniques and strategy. And so probably we have done a dozen at least pickleball clinics over the years to these various communities.
Tom and Ann, as well as being ambassadors for a sport, I call them missionaries as well. I have been with them on several occasions to other subdivisions where we've had groups of 50 to 100 people that get to see what pickleball is. And they get to learn a little bit about it, hear about it, and they also get to play. And that in turn has spurned growth from those many communities into hundreds into thousands of people in the state of Georgia.
Tom's an excellent teacher, and everyone enjoys coming back because he will play with everyone and help them and give them tips.
I think Ann is the ultimate ambassador of anything she feels strongly about. There's not a person that comes here that feels like they're a stranger once they talk to Ann, and she's really the main reason people feel welcome here.
I want them to feel like they're at home. And so, except for the dogs on the courts, it's reasonably a relaxing place to be. We started tournaments just to have fun and a social event.
And it seemed almost natural that at some point we would have a tournament with all the players here. And that was the very beginning with about 8 players. I think it went to 16 players the next year, and this year it went to 120. They're getting a chance to play with and against other players of their same ability in a round-robin fashion.
Or you have 10 people of equal ability playing on 2 courts. You play 9 games, and you play each game with a different partner. And we get some very high-level players that come here because they really enjoy being able to play with a different partner every game.
There's no question that if you have a 2-day tournament, you've got 120 players, that folks are coming from 3 different states. I believe they had Florida, Alabama, Tennessee. There's that economic impact that a tournament like this will bring. But what hope it does, it gets other folks motivated to also pick up and help grow.
Everything is free. There have been no charges for playing, no charges for clinics.
We just enjoy having pickleball people here.
And I think in part when we started a number of years ago, people were always giving us tips and teaching us and having clinics. I mean, we were just trying to share. And that's the way we were taught. So I think that has a lot to do with how we feel about sharing as well.
Tom and Ann are just wonderful people. They just open their homes and their hearts to everybody. They're just warm, they care about pickleball, and they care about other people.
They are probably some of the most generous people that I've met in a long, long time. They're great teachers. They're wonderful at everything that they do up here for the community and for all of us that play pickleball. They're good people, very good people.
They're gracious, caring, and give us all this wonderful environment to play ball in.
We feel fortunate that we had 2 tennis courts here that we were able to convert to pickleball courts. Now, not everybody has that opportunity, but everybody in their own way can grow pickleball in their community, either on their driveway, on the schoolyard, or in subdivisions with tennis courts that aren't being used. Because if you build these courts, you will find that many people in your community will come and play.
Pickleball certainly has given us a lot of friends in the community, a lot of friends we would not have discovered any other way. So we've been blessed with good people. We certainly have gotten more than we've given.
No matter where you are, pickleball can bring us together to celebrate community, learn new things, and have fun. If you know someone we should feature on a future episode, we would love to hear from you. All you have to do is send us an email and tell us your idea. This episode of I Heart Pickleball has been brought to you by Highlands Leg Cramps, America's #1 over-the-counter leg cramp medicine. For more information, go to highlands.com.